I'm so happy I can finally scrap that comp altogether. So we're going to go back to boss rush for this one. I've got a slightly different comp to what we were running, closer to the boss rush guide comp, but more so with a little twist that was pointed out to me by a commenter, Santofa, if I'm pronouncing it right, hopefully. So essentially, instead of using glass wardens to account for when our damage starts to drop off, use a huntress that marks. So it's still 1.5 times damage, which is great. The order proceedings are Dark Lord attacks first, because they're the quickest, then these two Blade Masters. Then if things do start surviving, the Tavern Owner will have the chance to clear everyone. Actually, I think I'll put the Huntress first, because if the Tavern Owner can't clear, he only does hardly any damage, but at least it's something. Slowstone, yep, so yeah, the Huntress will mark, and then everyone will take their second turn. Because by the time these guys are attacking, well, actually, the boss would get 2 turns, right? Because these 3 would attack, boss would go, these 3 would attack, the boss would go, these 3 attack. Yeah, which doesn't really matter. We'll give it a go. I haven't done plating or anything. This is like a initial trial run before we start fine-tuning it. Because there's a few things. I don't know if I want to run damage reflection. It'd be a lot easier if I just put the withering on these guys, because then I could cut. Well, for one, I'd hit 90, and I could cut the gems. But we'll see. We'll leave it like this for now. Go ahead and save it. So this will be like boss rush attempt. Ooh. There we go. So boss rush tests. Okay. And we're just trying to hit the 2-hour mark and get as many credits within that 2-hour window as we can. Ooh. We're doing 8.1 consistently. It's not as much as I thought it would be. He's got the crit trinket now. 5.4 on the Dark Lord, it's fine. So he can't, not that he goes, but he can't one-shot this stage of the boss anyway. Oh, he does go. He goes twice. Interesting. The Flutterstorm, I didn't look at the reflect damage last time. It's hardly any, so there's no point running damage reflect. Barbecue's a bit of an issue. You can't, well, you can with 2, because the initial Dark Lord that you fight this turn, he's not considered a boss. I think we've been over this before, and so the grill isn't as well, so you'd have to do default attack, a rank greater than mini boss, I think, and then default attack any, and that way you'd always prioritize the Vacation Lord. So will the Dark Lord go again? So we didn't do enough damage. Oblivion should only set the Dark Lord to 1. It's fine. So maybe we should take the stone off the Huntress and have the Huntress mark anytime the Dark Lord can't one-shot anything. And that way, it's guaranteed that this boss dies in 3. Yeah, I think we'll have to do that. It's not too bad. Anyway, I'm going to leave it for the 2 hours. We'll take a look at the boss credit count, and then fine-tune it a little bit. Hopefully we can get enough to unlock the janitor this time around, and then we can get back to really working on progression. Well, boy, does that suck. So not being able to defeat the Darkest Lord, or the final boss, essentially, in that first round is the clencher. But at least all we have to do is take the Huntress off the Slowstone, so that way goes the Dark Lord, finishes the first phase, then the Huntress marks, then the 2 Blade Masters should hopefully have enough damage to deal with him. The only sad part is I have to find something to do for 1 hour and 40, so I might as well just crank in a bit of progression. For 1 hour at least, so it'd be like 4,000 levels, 3,000 levels, isn't it? Anyway, See you then for hopefully the better attempt at boss rush. New mythics, unfortunately. At least we got a few floors. And we can try boss rush. Hopefully to a better extent this time. So back to our test build. And all we're going to do is take the slow stone off the Huntress. So the idea being now the Dark Lord will one-shot as many things as it can. The Huntress will mark the final stage of the boss. And then the two Blade Masters hopefully have enough damage. And in order to get around the marking, we need the mana. No inbuilt mana regen. Kinda need to run a space gem. We also learned that Reflect is not useful enough. So, what do we want? I don't think there's anything we really need. I am actually curious about the Gravedigger Shovel, if it works on boss rush. I mean, it should be easy enough to see through the HP pool. It's just whether or not it can affect the battle credits, because that would be an interesting mechanic. If it, what would that be? It's like, that's a 50% increase, so if you got a few extra ones, we have to see. Your stuff is fine, I think everyone else is fine. Hopefully, we can actually get past the early stages and I can leave it for 2 hours. I do just want to double check. Should be fine. If the Huntress can go. The only thing I was going to swap was the attack mechanic. I need one more spot. I can get rid of recharge, I guess, because we're past the point and we don't use it for boss rush. So, enemy rank greater than, I want to say mini boss. Means that they should target. This is the right spot, no, one down. So they should target the actual bosses before, for instance, the grill. And then this default attack will allow them to deal with the normal Dark Lord. Oof. I will probably watch it and then we can just put it out. So I'm looking at, I know the HP for the final boss is like 13,000, so it's higher than that. Not quite. They all had odd numbers, so I can't remember if that's right. We could also just can it here to check the credits. We don't have it unlocked, so it's not too bad. It also looked like we didn't quite have enough damage, which is a bit annoying. Means we are still susceptible to the Oblivion. So, how much damage? 6. Did the second one miss? Is that what was going on? I think if the second one had full crit, so if I had another one of the crit gems, we'd be fine. One. Mark. Hit. We got that time. Hopefully it's better. We'll have to see. So, I'll either see you if it dies or in 2 hours. Right, second test down. Still not too good. We got poisoned and put to sleep. So I think I need to go a bit more defensive. Maybe chuck in another nurse instead of the third Blade Master. I think the comp that was explained to me went Nurse, Tavern Owner, Huntress, Blade Master, Blade Master, Blade Master. And I'm just subbing out one Blade Master for the Dark Lord. And that way we've got 2 chances to cleanse, a way to actually heal. I think that's going to be better for the next try. So I think this is the comp we're looking at now. So the Tavern Owner and the Nurse will take turns cleansing. If one of them gets stat affected, we are running the Evercrag armor, which does boast 30% stat resistance. It is a bit better. I think, what is there? Is it just, it's 51% and 36%. It's not too bad. And priority should be cleanse. I'll probably put defend back on, and then Huntress mark, and we deal with the damage. We're not worried about slow stone, so it will overall be slightly slower, but it should definitely get us to the 2 hour mark now. Continue. And it should still definitely be quicker than the Glass Warden. I think the Glass Warden is equivalent to something like 5 or 6 attacks.
It might even be more. I'm trying to remember the numbers in my head, and I feel like it's 0.3 and then 10 or something. Which would actually be more. That would be 10, that would be 30 attacks. Either way, it should definitely be quicker. We just have to worry about the soda script. Essentially, the way it is now, cleanse is a priority, which is fine. Then healing, which is also fine. If healing's not needed, we want to defend, not attack. There's no good way to do that, is there? I mean, the attack won't matter too much. It will help maybe in the early section. We'll try it as is before I mess around with the soda script. It should definitely... We should be able to do more than an hour, because that's where we got to last time. We just died to sleep, so the status is the big thing. Ugh. I'm curious, the boss rush comp, the one in the guide, and if I remember, I'll try to link it in this video, but it's in one of the comments on the other ones, if you can find it. Essentially, their guide, I don't understand how it's consistent, because there's a lot of just little things, like if the final boss uses Oblivion instead of any other attacks, it does way too much damage. The status effects are one thing, because the Dark Lord doesn't outspeed everyone and the damage drops off. So I'm just curious how exactly they get the numbers they got, like, on a consistent manner. Is that just their best possible outcome? Because in which case, it's not the comp you really want. You want something that you can consistently use back to back. And then the other thing I think was mentioned, the cap for credits is 20 per boss, so from 12,000 onwards, floor 12,000 onwards. So if you're doing 15,000 levels, then that's equivalent to, you know, just under 1 hour to get the max amount of credits per. And then after that, it's not a big difference. I might have to test the math on that. I feel like you can get higher, maybe, if we work out the average. But yeah, I'm just going to save this comp. I guess I'll do a little bit of grinding for another hour, and then we'll hopefully give it a final and much better go at it. Progression comp, and straight to it.
And perfect timing for take 3. So I guess I'll watch it for a bit again. I think we ended up around 15,000, so we'll see where it dies down to. We've got all the cleansing, we attacked the vacation lawn, so the barbecue, so that's good. Marked, and 2 basic attacks, so it wasn't too slow, and we're just playing more in terms of safety. So hopefully we can get past. It should end up around floor 30,000 within the 2 hours. Why did you attack the barbecue? I must have to put up one more stage. The barbecue must be a mini boss, not just a normal entity. Anyway, hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll finally get 2 hours out of this one. Man, have I not tried just clicking random stuff enough. So you can actually change this to warps. It's interesting. But the more important one, you can open up the adventure progress, which means we can watch the counter tally go up. So for instance, we're on 21. I want to see how much we get from beating this boss. So 92. So the comment section was very much correct. The cap is 20,000, meaning once you get to 20,000, it's all about the floors per hours. So if you can get to 20 credits per boss as quick as possible, and then work on a comp that only goes for an hour, 30 minutes, it doesn't matter, because once you get to that point, it's the same. There's no exponential growth after that fact. So Aiming for 2 hours, obviously, when you don't have infinite boss rush open is the primary goal. But after that, it's probably... it's probably best to do shorter bursts. I mean, if you can go for as long as possible, but you will start losing floors because just the enemy health, mainly the good lords, I think the majority of bosses actually have some sort of damage resistance or damage reduction, so you will lose your counter. So it's about maintaining this as high as possible for as short as possible once you get to that 12,000 mark. That's actually just really handy to know, so I can use this even on, I assume, normal runs to look at the progress, and I would be more interested in the warps, rather than the normal floors per hour. But we're doing good. We should definitely last for 2 hours, and should get around 40,000 maybe? Extra 20 minutes? Something like that. Either way, one step closer to the janitor, just have to do it a few times, probably... Ooh, I want to say we're at like 20,000 credits, and we need 400,000. So at least 10, so maybe 20 hours worth of boss rush to get enough credits. I'm debating in my head, because as you can see the counter's gone down already. It's dropped now below the 13,000. I would have to map it out in like Excel to work out what the optimal amount is. It's probably best to just end it at the 2 hour mark. I am very interested again in the boss rush guides one, because they touted, I think it was like 30,000 credits an hour is what they worked out to from 3 hours, and now that we know there's a cap to the credit amount, I don't understand how they could get faster progression later into it, because after you get to the credit limit, like I keep saying, and I feel like I'm going in circles, you just lose the floors per hours. This is going to slowly dwindle till we eventually die. So like this, the good lord is just tanking through hits. Barbecue's also an issue. But anyway, we'll come back at the 2 hour mark and go from there, I guess. Right, just past the 2 hour mark, 40,000 credits, looking good. Might as well finish this one. Oh, the Dark Lord actually died. What did you die to? To burn. So the final boss must have put him on low health, and then burn must have done the trick, because he does need to get double tapped. Or actually just burn twice through his mask. Should be able to do this fine. Yeah, a little bit more. Yeah, there we go. So, 40,000 credits in roughly 2 hours, so 20,000 credits. I think we could do a little bit better. Ooh, wrong party. So what exactly worked and what didn't work? Well, the damage is fine. The Dark Lord, though. Plating is one thing. Obviously, if I had the uranium, which I don't think I do. Yeah, I have 36 and 7 ore. That's atrocious. Credit-wise, what are we at? 260,000. That's more than I remember. And we need a total of 3,600 to get enough janitors done. Okay, so it's doable, and won't take too many more boss rush runs. It's just whether or not we can boost that rate. So Tavernone is necessary. Do we need the nurse to heal? That's the question. Because if we... what could we add or change to make it a bit better? I suppose the big thing is just getting these guys to 100% crit. Right now they're at... oh, you're at 109 and you're at 80. So yeah, so if you got to 100 as well, which is doable through plating maybe? What do we have? Crit damage? Is it just crit damage? Yeah, so only usable one is the 7% booster stats, since that ups his crits, or we change the weapon.
we were to change it to, I think, was it the wireless fidelity? It's a bit less damage, but guaranteed crit. Or less damage though. So it's actually less damage overall, so no. Can't swap trinkets. Can't swap armor. It's really just more of the crack shot gem would do it. I'm gonna give it a little thought, see what exactly we should change, if anything. So I think I actually want to try and build the comp from scratch, and I've brought up the base stats because that's what we're going to look at. So we've got 29 on the chef. He's actually highest damage dealer, though you can't change his weapon, so he's kind of out. Food-wise, is there anything that actually could be useful? 10% damage to your next critical hit isn't huge, though. Use 10 ingredients. I wonder if that's to everyone in the party. Depending on the animation, could help. Gold, doesn't really matter. I don't think any of this really matters. You're going for a longer comp. The base attack up might actually do the trick. But anyway, we'll fire you because you can't change your weapon. And then out of these three, the highest base attack is actually the Tavern Owner. That's interesting to know. We'll grab, who else do we need? Huntress, Thief, Mystic. Any of you have a higher? No, so it's still the Tavern Owner. Fine. I don't think I grabbed the Dark Mage. I doubt the Soda Junkie does. And then we're also looking at the Carpenter. The Miner, I think, is the last character we haven't checked. Yeah. Can we get one relatively quick? Oh, I didn't check the Nurse. Nurse is only 20, as expected. Essentially, what I'm trying to suss out is who should the Sword of Space and Time go to? Who can we get the most attack on and deal the highest amount of damage? Carpenter and a Miner. So highly doubtful they have. Carpenter's 25, and we've nailed it 4 times attack. So that's actually worth contending. It's slower, but we might be able to push the damage up a lot. Because essentially, we equip the Space and Time Sword onto the Dark Lord. He's at 1151. We chuck it onto the Blade Master, along with a Uranium Rod, and all of a sudden, he's a lot greater. Counter to that was this. This is a 14% boost to all stats, but the 19% to attack is the big thing. We chuck it on the Tavern Owner with, say, a shield. We still get to 13,000, and we have 2 accessory slots available. Because that's the big thing, because then I can run crit damage and the crit goggles. So 100% chance for 250 extra damage, which might be worth more on someone else. Plus then it frees up a position. The also question is, can we push the crit damage, let's say 7%, to greater than 4 times? Unless it's greater than 4 times, nailed it is actually more damage. So, well, in comparison to whatever their attack is. I don't think there's any, well, the Shark and Suit. So 24,000. Even if we put the Cape of Julius on, he's doing, when he does crit, just over 4 times the amount of damage. So we put everything else onto the Carpenter. I really wish I had enough stuff to make 2 Swords of Space and Time to make testing easier. So again, we're still going to use the radioactive shield, and I'd love to make the gems. The uranium gems would really help. But base to base, so we get rid of you, give you it. It's 600 damage difference, so the 4 times does have an impact, but I don't think we can push his crit high enough. Even with, what is it at now? It's at 46% chance, and even with the crit gem, it's now only at 75% chance, so we can't quite get to 100%. With 3 uranium platings would be 21%. Might do it. I don't know if it's a multiplier or an additive, so if it's like a flat 21% on top of this. Ooh, so much debating to do. Still, the Carpenter for cleanup could be worth it. It all depends on exactly how quick nailed it is. I should look up animation times. I didn't mean to attack, and you can't defend. So you would... Nope. Okay, one more time. You defend. You can attack. You defend. And nailed it. So 1, 2, 3... 3 seconds versus 1, 2... Versus... Yeah, so it's definitely slower. You can't defend. So, okay. But this setup works somewhat well. We know you're doing 10 mil. Granted, we have all the relic buffs anyway. You're doing 5 mil with no equipment. Yeah, the crit is 10 mil. So I'm... Just bear with me. I'm going to put the Swords of Space Time on a character and see if we can push the damage. So you get that, you get a uranium shield. There's no shield that boosts attack, is there? This is all stats, this is magic damage. Don't think there's one for... There's the power shield for base attack, but not actual attack. Sharpened armor. Don't think Nailed It can crit. Good crit. That would be interesting. We'll try it. So turn you off. So you are doing 5.3. So your crit does the same. Okay, so the Blade Master is definitely better than the Dark Lord at least. Meaning the comp I was given was, it was the Tavernoner, a Nurse, a Huntress, and then 3 Blade Masters, so that they're doing back attacks and can have the most damage possible. But he also mentioned to me that it was used Swords of Space and Time and the Bit Blade. Which, you just get more attack damage out of the Radioactive Rod, because the base stats, like the crit chance and the crit damage doesn't matter, it's just this value, so 218 versus 168 plus the inbuilt. And then this will multiply further with the Sharpened Suit, I presume. Yeah, it seems like it's higher. Like, proportionally, I mean. It's just, the crit balance is like this fine act. I mean, your crits don't do a lot of damage, to be honest. Can we get the other guys to max crit, though? So if we gave you the Bit Blade, as well as Uranium Rods... What are you at? Nope, wrong one. You're at 69% chance, 69% chance. I don't think this gives crit chance. Does not do any of the armors. Don't think they do in this version. The Radioactive Suit. 69%. Wrong one. 78%. So it gives 9%. And then it will also boost the Prism. So we get to 90% crit versus 80% crit. With the gem, we get 100%. If we had 2 gems, this would be the setup then. But we don't even have enough Sharkin suits. So I guess you would get the Radioactive Suit. And then... What could I even give you for crit? 69... 98, almost to 100. So if we plated something, he'd be 100%, and then we could put the cape on him for maximum damage. And then you would be inbuilt crit. So you'd want something like that to get to 90%. For double damage, 600% damage, double damage. I think that's worth it. And then this side's just survivability. I think I would still... Slow Stones. Because I would really want to go Huntress, Blade Masters, then Healing. Because we only need the Cleansing Mat once we get to the point where they're no longer dealing enough damage, I think. Alright, I'm going to set this up properly and then we'll give this a go. Right, so I think this is what we're going with. I'm not going to change the Soda Scrim, so it's slightly unoptimal because you want them to defend, not waste attacks, because none of these 3 characters can deal sizable damage compared to the other 3. It should definitely help longevity-wise, because we should be able to keep up damage on all the later bosses. The issue is that we do get attacked sometimes, like that. We'll see what the FPH ends up at. I do think we'll be able to do the 2 hours though. This guy is a bit of a worrisome, but we'll see. 20k, it's great. Like to see 6, 7. So we still beat him before he gets a move off, and he's the main issue. Yeah, our FPH is already slower. So I think you need the Dark Lord to clean up the earlier guys, but investing your most damage into the Blade Masters is the better tactic. So the Dark Lord would replace this bottom guy. Anyway, it should hopefully still go for 2 hours at least. But not too bad. Slightly slower. A bit less credits without the Dark Lord, and obviously less FPH. I left it a little long, but that's fine. But I think I'm going to go back to the Dark Lord, and I'm just going to grind out the rest of the credits, and then we'll go up clearing out the janitor and doing some mining next time around. I think we're fairly close. What are we at? 300,000. I need an extra 60,000? Yeah, 60,000. So I'll see you in the next one, and we'll finally get some proper progress going.